So you're trying to buy your first home in Southern Ontario, and your head is probably spinning, right? One headline says prices are down, the next says they're stabilizing. Is it a buyer's market? Is it not? It's confusing. But what if I told you the real story, the one that could save you a ton of money, is hiding right under our noses? Well, today we are going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to find your opening in the February 2026 housing market. And I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? After all these years of just watching prices go through the roof, feeling totally stuck on the sidelines, you're looking at the market today and you're feeling hopeful, but also, let's be real, you're probably pretty anxious too. So, is this finally it? Is this the moment we've all been waiting for? Well, the answer is surprisingly optimistic. You see, right now, the market's in this weird kind of standoff. Think of it like a high-stakes poker game. On one side, you've got buyers who are being super cautious. On the other, you have sellers who are finally starting to accept that things have changed. And all that tension, that's actually great news for you. Because for the first time in what feels like forever, you've been dealt a really strong hand. All right, so to understand how to play that hand, you got to see the whole table, right? So let's break down what's really going on out there, piece by piece. Okay, so the fancy term you're going to hear is a balanced to buyer-leaning market. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but all it really means is that the crazy, chaotic seller-in-charge market, it's done. It's over. For the first time in years, you've actually got choices. You've got time to breathe, time to think, and the big one, you have way more power when you sit down to negotiate. And what's really fascinating is how this whole thing creates a kind of feedback loop. Check this out. There are more homes for sale, but sales are moving slower. That keeps prices from going back to their crazy peaks. And that makes buyers even more cautious, which, you guessed it, forces sellers to get even more realistic with what they're asking for. It's a complete 180 from the dynamic we've all been living through.
But here's where things get really interesting, and honestly, where your opportunity is hiding. If you're just scanning the headlines, you're missing the key part of the story. You see, there are actually two totally different things happening in the market at the exact same time.
Okay, so this is the crucial part. Get this. On one hand, when you compare prices to this time last year, they're down, like way down. We're talking 7 to 9% in a lot of places. That's your discount right there. But, and this is a big but, if you zoom in and just look at the last month, prices have stopped dropping. In fact, in a lot of areas, they're flat or even creeping up a tiny bit. That's a huge signal that the market might be hitting its floor. Let's look at Mississauga. It's a perfect example. Year over year, prices are down almost 8%. That's a huge deal. But just in the last month, they're actually up 1.7%. You see, that's the whole story in two numbers. The big discount is still on the table, but that little monthly uptick, it's a warning sign that this window isn't going to stay open forever. So what's your secret weapon in all this? It's simple. Inventory. Just think about it. A couple years back, you basically had one weekend to see a house and make one of the biggest decisions of your life. It was nuts. But today, in a place like the Hamilton-Burlington area, there's 3.2 months of supply. That means you have time. Time to do your research, see a bunch of places, and make an offer you feel genuinely good about. That is leverage. Okay, so we get the theory, we see what's happening, but now for the big question, right? Where do you actually find these deals? Let's get practical. Let's map this thing out. All right, this table really tells the story. That HPI benchmark column, just think of it as the price for a typical home. You can see those big year-over-year price drops pretty much everywhere. But here's the part that should make your jaw drop. The affordability gap. Just look at Hamilton or Cambridge. We're talking about a price that's almost $300,000 less than Mississauga. For a first-time buyer, I mean, that's an absolute game changer. So, if you're out there looking for that perfect buyer's sweet spot right now, here's your checklist. It's a simple recipe. You want a price under $800K, at least 2.5 months of supply, and those big year-over-year discounts. And as you can see, places like Hamilton, Cambridge, and Kitchener-Waterloo, they're ticking all the boxes. But wait, it's not just about where you buy, it's also about what you buy. Now, detached homes, yeah, their prices have dropped, but the competition is still pretty fierce. The real sweet spot, the gold mine for a lot of first-time buyers, is right there in the middle. Townhomes and semis. With 3 to 4 months of supply, that means way less competition. And less competition means more room for you to negotiate. So yeah, if we have to call a winner, the townhome is absolutely the MVP for first-time buyers in 2026. It's just
The perfect balance, It's affordable, it gives you space, and most importantly, the market conditions are lined up to give you the power to get a deal you're actually happy with. Okay, so we know where to look, we know what to look for, but why now? Why is this all happening at this exact moment? To get that, we need to zoom out and look at the big picture stuff, interest rates and what's going on in people's heads. For what feels like forever, buyers have been holding their breath, just waiting for the next painful rate hike. But then, on March 18th, the Bank of Canada held rates steady. And that was like a collective sigh of relief. It's basically a green light. It just wipes away a huge cloud of uncertainty and lets you actually plan your budget and your mortgage without worrying it's all going to change tomorrow.
And this quote right here answers a question I get all the time. With all the new people coming to Canada, why aren't prices just skyrocketing? Well, here's why. The problem hasn't been a lack of people who want to buy. Not at all. The problem has been the absolute nightmare of qualifying for a mortgage and being able to afford those sky-high payments. That's the bottleneck. And that's what has cooled this market down and created this opening for anyone who's ready to jump.
Okay, so how do you take all this info and actually use it? Here's your 4-step playbook. Step 1, rates are stable, so go lock in that mortgage pre-approval now. Know your number. Step 2, aim your search like a laser on those high inventory areas and the townhomes we talked about. Step 3, and this one's huge, negotiate on more than just the price. This is your chance to get conditions back in your offer, like a home inspection or financing, stuff that was basically impossible a couple years ago. And finally, step 4, make your offer based on the data we've talked about, not just gut feelings.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Windows of opportunity, they close. We have to look at what's coming next. Because this special moment we're in, it's precious. And believe me, it is not going to last forever. So looking ahead to the spring, yeah, we'll probably see a bit more action. But prices should stay pretty stable. If the Bank of Canada keeps holding rates where they are, this buyer's window will probably stay open. But, and you really need to hear this, the second they even hint that rate cuts are coming, all those buyers who've been sitting on the sidelines are going to jump back in. Competition is going to explode, and your power to negotiate, it's going to vanish fast. And that brings us to the final critical question. Because look, we all know it's not a matter of if rates will drop, it's a matter of when. So what happens to this incredible buyer's market when that day finally comes? Simple. The standoff ends. That massive wall of pent-up demand from all the people who've been waiting, it's going to come flooding back into the market. The single most important thing to take away from all of this is that the power you have right now exists because of the uncertainty. And the moment that uncertainty goes away, so does your opportunity. So the real question isn't about the market, it's about you. Are you ready to make your move before that window closes?